It's about time we got to some proper, affordable hub nut motoring, and there's no better way than doing it with this Vauxhall Astra from 2004. Or maybe this Vauxhall Astra from 2004. But we're going to start with this metallic blue Astra Mark IV, or Astra G to the Opel fanatics. This one is a 1.4 Njoy, whatever that is. It's absolutely filthy because the roads here in Wales, rural Wales, are absolutely filthy at the moment. The paint lacquer has gone in places. It is a good representation of what cheap motoring looks like in 2025, and I'm looking forward to having an explore around it. Obviously we've had the Ford Focus on the channel. This was a direct rival. So the Astra G is called the Astra G for it is the 7th generation of Cadet. I know that doesn't seem to make sense, but the Opel Cadet name began pre-war with a short-lived car interrupted by the Second World War. It went on to become a Moskvich, but in 1962 the Cadet A, as it would become known, was launched. Richard Hammond's Oliver, which featured on Top Gear, was such a vehicle, and then there followed further generations, and eventually we got to G. But by the time we got to F in 1991, our Mark III Astra, the Astra name was applied to Opel as well, but we kept using the generations of Cadet. So this is a 7th generation Cadet, but it's badged Astra, whether it's an Opel, a Vauxhall, or indeed even a Holden. There are even some Chevrolet badged versions in South America that had different engines again. But the engine lineup was quite vast in itself. Everything from a 1.2 petrol, I presume for markets like Greece and Portugal where they like economy, all the way through to the 2.2 chain-driven camshaft engine that was also used in the Vectra, so quite a bit ago. I think in South America rather, you could have up to a 2.4 petrol. Load of diesel options as well. We'll see a diesel later in this video. But they sold in huge numbers, yet we're only in production in Europe for 6 years. Really, really short. But I just love the styling. I think it's really crisp. And while it's the Ford Focus that gets all the plaudits, both cars being launched in 1998, for me, I'm happier with this styling. And the notchback style, ironically, Ford moved from a notchback Escort to a flatback Focus, whereas Opel Vauxhall went from the flatback Astra to the notchback here. Yeah, this gives you much more boot space. We've got 20 litres more boot capacity here than in the Focus, and it doesn't disappoint behind the wheel either. Unfortunately, the rear wiper test is going to happen on the other vehicle, and I can't even show you the boot because this one appears not to open at all. And yes, we've got a sporty exhaust pipe on it, but yeah, it's just really nice styling, I think, even in dirty rural Wales spec as here. Under the bonnet of this one, we got the Ecotec 1.4 litre engine. I'm not 100% sure on the power output. It seems a little confusing. It's either about 88 brake horsepower or 100 brake horsepower. Seem to be the figures, but obviously most of it just hidden by a piece of plastic. We're into that era, but nonetheless, you can see the ground through the engine bay, so that's good. McPherson strut, front suspension, and a 5-speed gearbox with optional automatic. So the owner of this one works in maintenance, so he's got seat covers on. We can have a peek at the upholstery maybe. Yeah, it's not very exciting under there, but you know, height adjustment on the seat. If we jump in, the usual problem of the gear lever loses all its covering, that happens. It hasn't split though, still in one piece. Handbrake here, simple heater controls. Quite like this phone holder in the style of a racing seat. Built-in stereo with the display up here, nice clear dials, perfectly ahead of you, and stalks instantly recognizable from a Mark III Cavalier, who are also used in some TVRs. Headlamps over here, and pulling that turns on your interior light in a Vauxhall of this era. Rear fog light only, no fronts. We have got headlamp leveling and panel illumination, and we've even got a few buttons on the steering wheel, which is a bit posh. Ashtray where you put all your electrical connectors. We've got a little Bluetooth adapter, glove box, got some cup holders in it, as well as double layer storage, so that's pretty good. There are no fold out cup holders, it's a bit too early for that. I love the stapled headliner. I use embroidery twist pins myself, but whatever works and stops it from falling on your head. is good. The rear of the car is a bit full of fuel and family gear, so I'm not going to pull all that out and see what's in the back. We'll have a go in the diesel model. But look, we've got pull down center armrest, but we are keep fit windows in the rear. Now looking at the style of them, they should go all the way down. That one's going to fall off its runners, so we're not going to open that one. There we go. It's the more affordable end of motoring, and we can't open the boot. We know about that. So there isn't really much more to do than get you set up and we'll go for a drive. Let's start the engine. And even with a slightly sporty exhaust. Okay, very sporty exhaust. It still sounds very, very Vauxhall. Windscreen wiper test, and we've got no screen wash. Okay, I guess we'll be doing that in the other car. The problem with automated wipers, but they go whether your screen wash comes out the window or not. Actually, I have got a squirty bottle. And then the wipers, good overlap, no triangle of doom. So a good wiping performance, far better, dare I say, than a Mark 1 Focus. Mark 1 Focus, terrible triangle of doom, where the passenger arc does not meet the driver's arc, and you just get this big dribbly mess. Oh, that's a very loose interior mirror. We'll perhaps leave that alone. Just go back up on the window. No one touch, but yeah, as you'd expect from a Vauxhall, it's not very difficult to drive at all. Bit of a clunk on the front end, suspect could be anti-roll bar bushes, and the gear change is a little stiff, but everything seems to work. So a good ride over this broken terrain in the car park. Opel really did do a good job of engineering these, and made them tidy handlers as well, as we'll soon see. It's quite a long travel on the clutch pedal. That's very Germanic, because obviously, you know, despite wearing a Vauxhall badge, all the engineering on these was done in Germany. Although production was split, some of it at Elmsmere Port here in the UK, some of it in Belgium, and I think some in Germany as well, because there were quite a few spin-offs. There was a Bertone Cabriolet, so Italy, involved in production, and a coupe, a really practical and actually quite attractive, I think, estate, and a van version thereof. Yeah, there were quite a few different versions. There was even a booted saloon, but they're quite rare. See more of those in places like Ireland, where they love a saloon. But yeah, being a 1.4 going uphill, it's not overly competent in the acceleration stakes, but it is smooth. It doesn't feel like it's labouring, and we'll soon encounter some higher speed limits where we can open her up a bit more. But for my money, I've actually done quite a lot of driving in these, and I think they're every bit as good as the Focus. 60 miles an hour, about 2,800 RPM, no bother at all. It's quite a nice gear change actually, and the lever is a bit shorter than in the Focus. Focus has quite a long lever on it with a quite unpleasant plastic knob. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot I like about the Ford Focus. I just don't understand why it gets all the plaudits, and you never see any glory heading the Astra's way, which I think is a bit unfair. They were both launched in 1998, and they both moved the game on for the market sector. I mean, perhaps the Focus handles a little bit better if you're dancing about on the limit on a racetrack, but who's doing that in a family car? Can you go around bends nicely? Yes. In terms of seats, that is where the Ford wins. Opel, for some reason, got obsessed with firm seats, and that can be unpleasant on a longer journey, I find. And it blighted many a Vauxhall, and Mark III Cavalier is another good example, especially on the lower spec models. The seats are just unpleasantly firm. So this one would have had aircon when new, so it's got quite a nice spec on it really. It doesn't work now, but it might have done at some point. Many would argue this is kind of peak car. You've got enough complexity, fuel injection and electronic engine timing, everything, electronic ignition rather. So you've got what you need to make a car reliable, but not too much complexity. There's no big screens, there's no clever computers other than an ECU controlling the engine. And obviously the safety kicks, we've got airbags ahoy as well. And there's definitely a lot to be said for it. Mechanically, these cars are still very, very simple. And parts availability is good. Even though they're only production for 6 years, they sold a lot of them. It hasn't got a lot of torque, but it just pulls cleanly from quite low down the rev range. So yeah, it's smooth. It's just an easy, pleasant car to drive. So you could get a 1.4 Focus back in the day as well. I think they were always fairly rare, but I did drive one at one point when they were current. And I remember thinking, yeah, this has got enough. I'm sure it'd struggle on the hills of rural Wales a bit, but it's quite a punchy little engine. Let's open her up a bit. Yeah, it's not exactly thrust you back in your seat quick, but it does gather speed quite nicely. And because it handles tidally, you can kind of keep your momentum up as well. Steering has got a really nice weight to it actually. It's not too light, and you kind of feel like you can almost sense what's going on with the front wheels. But yeah, very, very likeable. Now we get the turbo diesel version to drive. This is actually an Eco 4, which is meant to be extra economical. So it'll be interesting to see what differences there are. It belongs to our friend Camilla, and she's made a few subtle upgrades to it over the years. It was her first car, which I find very sweet. She's now owned it for 10.5 years, and it's on over 178,000 miles. So if it's looking a little tired, that's why. It is a little tired. It's 178,000 miles. It's still dirty because rural Wales. It's just what it's like. She's actually cleaned that today, but the jet washers are hopeless around here. So I'm afraid that's going to be as good as it gets. In terms of cosmetic improvements, she's changed the front bumper, so she's got one now with fog lights in, and she's got the sportier headlamps that have a black trim inside them rather than the silver of the 1.4 from earlier. And she's made some changes inside as well. Let's check them out. Actually, there's another upgrade outside. She's fitted rear discs to the back as an upgrade, but you can see Wales is starting to take its toll. This car is coming off the road for winter and it's going to need some work, but fresh tyres on by the look of it. And again, it's just a really nice bit of styling, I think. I think the rear spoiler was part of the Eco package. Pleased to see we've got a rear wiper on this example as well. But let's see what the interior is like. Actually, we can show you what the boot's like on this one, although because it's her daily driver, it is quite full already. But 370 litres of capacity there before you start folding the seats. So it's a very big boot, very long, got a ski hatch, split folding rear seat as well. But yeah, there you go. This is a Astra 1.7 DTI. Inside, she's gone a bit to town, replacing parts of the carpet and the trim and the seats. It's got the Recaro seats out of a GSI, and weirdly, because they're out of a 3-door, they've actually still got the tilt function on as well, so you can make extra space in the back should you wish. But yeah, really, really nice seats. Bring it back, there we go. And center armrest as well, center head restraint even. So I'm going to climb into the back and we'll do the rear seats first. Just enough legroom and just enough headroom. So not too bad back here, but not brilliant either. And yeah, center armrest, all the good times. So it's okay. It's not ridiculously spacious. We have got winding rear windows. Does this one work? Yes. How far down? Oh, pretty far down. So that's not bad at all. But yeah, I love that she has done so many miles in this car, over 10.5 years. There's a lot of love there, and yeah, to upgrade things like the brakes seems a good move as well. Drums have their limitations, but oh hello, these seats in the front are very comfortable. You've got, oh, how hubnut is that? You've got this extending section that just falls off if you don't pull it in the right way. How very, I'm sorry, Camilla. I don't know if the dials are original. It's got white dials. I don't know if that was part of the eco spec or if that is one of the upgrades. But we've got aircon. Again, I'm not sure it's actually working, and the same stereo. So it's all very similar in here to the 1.4 of earlier. Electric front windows, and yeah, that's about it. We have got aero wiper blades, but I'm going to let Camilla off. I complain too much about aero wiper blades, but they do work. And when you drive in regularly icky Welsh conditions, that is a good thing. So here is the engine. It's a bit of an old school lump. Isuzu Origins, I believe, like previous 1.7 litre engines, but I think it's twin cam and 16 valve. I could be wrong. I don't think it's common rail. I think we've got the injectors here, so it's an individual feed to each of them. These leak off pipes can come off, by the way, so be very, very careful. In fact, that has happened fairly recently, and it has ended up dumping diesel onto the clutch. Marvellous. You don't want that. Here's your air conditioning pump. So all very different, but it is quite old school, I'm going to say. You have to ignore the leaf blower. Who invented leaf blowers? What an annoying thing. Let's make sure we're in neutral. Fire up. Yeah, it is a very old school diesel noise, but we have at least got electronic fuel injection, and power output is it's around 73 brake horse. It's quite low to make it eco-friendly, so it qualifies for lower tax, but a decent amount of torque, so it's less power than the petrol but more torque, I think. So let's go and see how that translates out on the road. Right, let's start with a windscreen wiper test. Oh, we did have screen wash a minute ago. Apparently now we don't. Oh, yes, that's annoying. But good overlap, no triangle of doom. I think the blades are a little oversized, but as we pull away, it's a diesel. There's no escaping that reality. It is a bit older school. It was later replaced by a common rail diesel, which offered greater economy, but I think at the cost of longevity. This is a pretty old school, pretty robust diesel engine. Yeah, pulls well enough. We're still in a 30 limit at the moment, but yeah, the noise is ever present, isn't it? Yeah, that's my foot right to the floor going uphill. Oh, that's a big drop in rev. So big gap between third and fourth, and I think that's part of the trying to make the economy better is very, very tall gearing, which again is going to take the edge off your performance, because now the engine's having to work harder. Like when you're on your mountain bike and you go into too higher gear and can't move the blooming pedals anymore. Yeah, at 60 we're doing just below 2,000 revs, back into a 40. So get some speed on, the engine quietens down quite pleasantly. It's still a pretty decent ride. There's the odd trim rattle here and there, but come on, this is not a brand new car by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it definitely feels more front heavy than the petrol, because it is. And the ride isn't as good either, and I think that's partly because it's got stiffer springing because it's got a heavier engine, but also I think the Eco 4 sits slightly lower than standard, again for better aero, try and improve the economy. Some reckoned it was 10 mpg better than a standard diesel. I don't know about that in all reality, but Camilla does say it's very good on fuel. Yeah, the faster you go, the nicer this car gets, I think. And that rattle of the engine just sort of smooths out. I haven't done a lot of miles in the Focus with a diesel engine, but there were two, again, like this. There was a turbo diesel and then there was a common rail turbo diesel. And I've kind of, I've got more experience in Mondeos and I found them to be quite peaky engines. Sort of all or nothing and very, very bad for lag. This doesn't seem to lag too bad at all. It does always feel like it's fighting the gearing a bit. It doesn't sparkle necessarily, but it's just very competent. And for all the control blade independent rear suspension of the Focus, to the layperson going round roads like this, are they really going to notice the difference? Two things. One, we haven't done hazard lights. Yep, good proper noise. And secondly, diesel shutdown. A proper shudder. So there we go, two very different Mark IV Astras compared, and I think pros for each. I think the refinement levels are a little lower with the diesel, but you get greater economy, so you've got that balance to make in your mind. If I was buying one today, I think I would go petrol just because of the sheer simplicity, but back in the day I think Camilla made the right choice and has had many happy miles in her Mark IV Astra. So huge thanks to both owners for letting me drive their daily drivers. I think both of them show what it's like being a daily driver in Wales. It's tough on cars, but yeah, very enjoyable drive. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in a future video. Farewell. See, black, sporty. I almost forgot the rear wiper test, but I don't think there's any screen wash left. Oh no, there is. There we go. Look at that. Good wiping performance. Like that.